Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon Gen 9. This is powered by Intel's 11th gen processors. Specifically in this build that Lenovo sent over for review, we've got the Core i7 1185 G7 with V Pro, 16 gigs of RAM, a 14-inch Full HD that is plus, so 1920 by 1200 resolution IPS panel, anti-glare, touchscreen with privacy guard, 500 nits is the rating per Lenovo, a 0.5 terabyte NVMe drive, and it does have a 720p HD webcam that is Windows Hello compatible. Of course, that means infrared, fingerprint reader, backlit keyboard, and of course Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2. Another thing you should know about this 2.5-pound Ultrabook is that you can also get it with a SIM card, a nano SIM slot, if that is something that appeals to you. So if you're looking for 4G or 5G connectivity on the go, this may be a great option for you. So let's get it out of the box. And this has always been one of Lenovo's really popular machines, and for good reason, because as I just stated, you're talking about a 2.5-pound Ultrabook that gives you a 14-inch display. You can get UHD, by the way, if that's what you're looking for. The majority of the builds, though, of course, are the Full HD Plus, as I mentioned, 1200p. 65-watt charger out of the box. I'm not sure exactly what we'll be seeing on battery life. I know what Lenovo's website claims, which is over 16 hours. If we get 10 to 12, I'll be very happy. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. And basically, you know, this is the Ultrabook to beat for much of the market. I've just recently reviewed the Vio Z, and I do feel like this is a very good counterpoint to the Vio Z. Very good model to consider. Similar pricing, so for those of you out there who think, you know, that the Vio pricing is insane, well, clearly you haven't been shopping business class Ultrabooks. I almost flipped that, like these. So, move this out of the way. There's going to be some paperwork, I'm sure. But let's take a look at this. That 65-watt charger, I'm assuming, is going to charge this up in a little less, or a little over 1 hour. So be curious to see what that's like. That's another element that, of course, is critical with Ultrabooks like this. Nice that this has touchscreen. And first thing I'm going to do is take a look around the chassis. So we've got a Type A USB port, Kensington lock, and of course a headphone jack right there. Headphone and microphone combo. We've got some speakers clearly on the bottom towards the front, some ventilation in the back. Nothing here except for what appears to be a dual array microphone setup. And then on the left side, that's where most of the action happens. HDMI 2.0 right there, another Type A USB port, and 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports. Of course, you will be charging through the Thunderbolt 4 port. Nothing on the back, pretty clean looking, and again, just a machine that should deliver exactly what you're looking for if this is what you're after. So, again, 14 inches, really slim bezel. We do have a privacy switch right up here. Physical one, so that's always nice. More and more manufacturers are doing that. Power button is right here. Let's see if we have any charge. We do. The backlighting just came on. And speakers, of course, on the side. Key travel, I think, is a little bit less on this than the previous generation, but, you know, from what I can tell, seems pretty good. And that is kind of expected with ThinkPad, obviously. So, again, the privacy guard is on this model, so that's something that, you know, if you value it, it's here. If you don't need it, you don't need it. But what I can tell you already is that it does look pretty nice, this IPS display. Let me go ahead and give you a better view of it. And at 2.5 pounds, it's tough to look for much more power than this. It'll be interesting to see what audio quality is like. But build quality seems excellent. To me, which is not a surprise. That's something the X1 Carbon line is known for. It's one of the reasons it's so popular. Form factor, build quality, and the fingerprint scanner, I believe, is built into the power button this time around. And yeah, just glass trackpad. I mean, nothing that you wouldn't expect, nothing out of the ordinary. It's showing 4 hours of battery life at present. Of course, I don't believe that. That was with brightness all the way up. You can see I just took brightness down to the minimum. You can barely, you're just seeing a matte display with a little bit of a reflection of me. But if I take it all the way up, and I'll play with power profiles, I of course do not think that that is correct. It's going up now. It's at 4 hours, 5 minutes. So realistically, we'll find out what battery life is like. But the fit and finish on this, again, is really nice. And, it's a matter of what you're really after. The fact that we have touchscreen, I think, is a great benefit. That's something I'll bring up the Vio Z again. A beautiful machine, expensive, very similar class, but no touchscreen capability. Something I wish more manufacturers would do, even in business class machines like these. We live in a world of touchscreens. It's second nature. A lot of you will argue, why would you want to touch a display and put fingerprints on it? You do it with your phone, you do it with tablets. So as long as you clean up after yourself, again, I feel like at this point in time, when it comes to tech, it is natural to presume you have touchscreen. In fact, even on my Asus G15, I often find myself going to touch and then saying, oh yeah, wait a minute, if only. And so it's nice that on a business machine like this, you do have touchscreen capability, because you never know when you're going to need it, frankly. Some people may think it's always going to be more convenient to use a trackpad, touchpad, but there are certainly instances where, you want to point something out, you want to touch something, quicker access, you want to show someone something, and touchscreen is just always nice to have. I'd rather have it and not need it than, the opposite. So always I'll have a touchscreen if possible. The privacy guard, that's a whole other issue. That's kind of like whether or not you want to go the Full HD Plus or the UHD. And of course, again, whether or not you want the Nano SIM slot for wireless connectivity on the go. So this model, as I mentioned, does not have it, but I imagine it would live on the left or right side as expected. No micro SD card slot here, so no card reader, but that's nothing new to this form factor. I think it's great that this has the I/O that it does. It's another thing that I would compare and contrast with the Vio Z that it really does directly compete with, in that laptop does not have a card reader just like this one. That one only has Thunderbolt 4 and HDMI. This very similarly is Thunderbolt 4 and HDMI, but gives you 2 Type A USB ports, which may be a difference maker. And I'm curious to see what the speakers perform like. You don't expect anything out of machines like this when it comes to speaker performance, but it may be very good. So I'm going to test it out, and of course, follow up with all of you, let you know what performance is like. But the machine looks nice. Let me make sure I didn't check if the privacy guard is on. You can see they give you very clear instructions that you hit the function button and D in order to enable. So right now it's no longer enabled. Now it's enabled. So it was enabled through this video. So let's see how much. Complete the setup. Get out of here, Microsoft. Nobody's interested in your nonsense right now. So right now, I'm not sure how much of a difference that's going to make for you on camera here, but screen's pretty nice, I have to say. And I do really like the form factor. I think this is an ideal machine for a really wide audience of users that are, again, just looking for something really competent. Remember, the RAM is soldered, so be aware of that. The NVMe drive, as I stated, 0.5 terabyte in this pre-built model that was sent over. You can upgrade that if you so choose, and that's pretty much it. Iris Xe graphics also, I believe, which means you're going to be able to do like gaming if that actually is something you're interested in, which is not something you would generally expect, again, from a business machine. But things are changing in terms of performance from ultrabooks and what we can do with them. So really the most interesting thing to me is going to be battery life and just the keyboard experience. The keyboard's, I think, fairly well done, which is not, again, a shock with Lenovo. A little tighter than what you traditionally find on ThinkPads, but that's because this is part of a heavy push to give us ultrabooks that are actually enjoyable to use and deliver on all the elements that any user would need, not just a business user. Whether you're in education, any sort of creative field, and you want something that's, again, really lightweight, powerful, and premium. And that's why it carries the price point that it does. And of course, there are sales all the time. So when I say it starts at $3,000, that will change. But The X1 Carbon is generally a pricey machine because there are very few machines that it directly competes with. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button, and as usual, please feel free to subscribe, and please stay safe. Later.